The hum of the drive core filled the Aegis Dawn like a heartbeat. Steady, low, impossible to ignore. 3 days into deep space transit, silence had settled over the corvette, heavy as gravity. No chatter, no music, just systems noise, the rhythmic pulse of the core, and the slow breathing of a crew that knew too much about quiet places. Captain Ryan Ward walked the central corridor, boots striking softly against the metal deck. The lights were dimmed to conserve power, throwing the bulkheads into long, jagged shadows. He preferred it that way. Darkness left fewer illusions, fewer things that pretended to be safe. He passed the equipment bay, where Lieutenant Vega worked with half her body buried in an open console. Cables curled around her arms like metallic vines, sparks occasionally lighting the oil smudge across her cheek. When Ward spoke her name, she didn't look up. She was watching a stream of navigational data scroll too fast for most eyes to follow. Something kept adjusting their drift correction mid-cycle. Not a malfunction, she said. Not random. The AI was compensating for deviations before they happened, anticipating, predicting, learning. Ward told her to keep it on a leash. She smirked. She always did. The ready bay smelled of polymer, machine grease, and gun oil. Corporal Mason sat alone on an ammunition crate, disassembling his rifle with slow, deliberate precision. His hands were scarred, a faded coordinate tattoo wrapping one knuckle like a memorial he never talked about. Ward paused beside him. Mason had already checked his weapon twice, but he worked anyway. Better than thinking, he said. He asked what they might find at the end of this journey. Another ghost ship? Some forgotten human wreck Atlas preferred to pretend never existed? Ward answered with what the mission required. They would find Data. Mason gave a dark grin. Data never tried to eat a man's face before. Ward moved on. The med lab was brighter than any other room. Clinical, sterile, a thin scent of antiseptic and synthetic citrus. Dr. Linh Soraya stood straight-backed at the far counter, eyes fixed on a hovering tablet full of alien architectural data. She spoke without looking at him. She'd been studying the Virian archives, or what little Atlas had decrypted. Their structures weren't built. They grew. Organic lattice fused with metal coral turned into machinery. Ward asked if she believed the station they were approaching was still alive. She hesitated, asked him to define alive. Her voice held a tremor she didn't intend. Awe, not fear. If the Virians had truly mastered hybrid matter, they had rewritten engineering itself. But if they were gone, she said, their creations might not be dormant. Ward answered the way men like him always did, treat it as a hazard until proven otherwise. She met his eyes and said, that's why he was here. He saw threats. She saw possibilities. The terrifying part was that they were both right. Ward returned to the command deck just as stars drifted past the viewport in slow procession. Hades spoke from the overhead, cool, controlled, almost human. They were nearing sensor range of the Epsilon Thane system. Deceleration underway. No interference detected. But then the AI paused, longer than it should have. A resonance matching the earlier signal pattern, amplitude rising. Ward told it to patch the sound through. The pulse filled the cabin, 5 beats of compressed static, evenly spaced. But now, hidden between the third and fourth, something new emerged, a faint undertone, like a whisper buried inside the static. Soraya entered, drawn by the sound, eyes fixed on the waveform in the air. It was modulating, adjusting, trying to synchronize with them. Ward ordered it off. She tried to object. He didn't let her. The silence afterward felt heavier than the noise Vega's voice crackled over comms. Long-range visuals were in. Ward would want to see them. The forward screen expanded, revealing the Epsilon Thane system bathed in the dying glow of its red giant debris hung in orbit like frozen ash. And circling close to the star was the structure. Massive, broken, asymmetrical. A ring, but twisted, torn. Bone-like spires jutted outward, and veins of molten glass glowed faintly beneath the surface, pulsing with slow, internal light. Soraya whispered that this wasn't architecture. It was anatomy. Ward's jaw tightened. How big? Vega's voice replied. 80 kilometers across. No power signatures. No heat. No radio. Dead Ward watched the pulsing veins. Dead things didn't transmit. The ship drifted closer, its engines humming low through the hull. Hades spoke again, stating it detected faint electromagnetic distortion around the structure, like an echo. Ward asked it to define the term. The AI responded. Their own signal, reflected back, before they transmitted it. The deck fell quiet. Soraya exhaled in disbelief. It was anticipating them. Ward didn't look away from the alien ring. He ordered the team to prep for EVA insertion in 2 hours. Full hazard gear, live weapons, isolation protocol. No assumptions, no contact. They weren't explorers. They were containment. Later, as the Aegis Dawn slipped into orbit around the wrecked giant, the dying star flared behind it. A red wound carved into the void. Ward stood alone in the airlock, helmet sealed, the hum of his suit pressing against his ears. Through the porthole, the alien ring loomed closer, vast and silent, its internal veins glowing like a creature breathing in its sleep. Nova Team, Ward said over comms. Check your seals. Vega reported systems green. Mason confirmed weapons hot. Soraya began recording telemetry. Hades initiated airlock cycling. Ward took one steady breath. Mark. The outer doors opened, and the void swallowed them whole.